Welcome to today's talk about Numbered Heads Together by Spencer Kagan. We will review the data associated with this cooperative learning strategy, an overview, and a recap of the process. Cooperative learning. Well, cooperative learning is the collaboration and interaction among members of a small group to achieve a goal, including the ability to remember and utilize what is learned. Spencer Kagan promotes one form of evidence-based strategy of cooperative learning, called Number Heads Together, out of Kagan's book from 1989. This works for all students, including those with disabilities. In addition, the Number Heads Together structure works well with all grade levels.
Inclusion for all students. Rather than the teacher asking a question and some students answering by raising their hand, cooperative learning includes all students. O'Brien and Wood, in 2011, studied Numbered Heads Together with students with disabilities to better understand the cooperative learning strategy of Numbered Heads Together. This was proven to significantly help these students with their social skills and with their discussion skills.
Students are in groups: males, females, ELL, gifted, average, below average, high average, special needs. The teacher assigns heterogeneous groups of mixed abilities. The students are responsible for their own learning and for their teammates' learning as well. This type of learning promotes face-to-face interaction and interdependence. Each individual is accountable for participation and contribution to the group in order to achieve the goals put forth by the educator or teacher. This type of group learning allows for students' social skills to be continually utilized and honed to improve the group's effectiveness. Another study by Jenkins, Antle, Wayne, and Vidassi of 2003 interviewed 21 teachers in grades 1 through 5 regarding cooperative learning for special education and remedial students. Overall, teachers indicated the importance of heterogeneous groups working together for a common goal with increased productivity and student engagement. Numbered Heads Together overview. Students work in groups of ideally 4. The original Numbered Heads Together structure had students number off, teacher asks a question, students put their heads together to discuss, then the teacher chooses a number to answer the question. Based on Kagan's 2009 book, most recent additions to the structure are the following. The students continue to number off 1 through 4. The teacher poses a question. New. Students think of an answer for a short period of time. New. Students record their answers. New. Students stand to share and review answers amongst each other. New. Once an answer has been decided, they sit. Traditional. Teacher calls random number. New. All students with said number stand. Traditional. Teacher chooses one person from a group to answer, and teacher asks other groups or other group members of the same number to add, modify, or change answer.
So the first step is to number off. Students number off from 1 through 4. They self-select numbers. This helps with social interaction and participation, as you can see.
Next, they think about an answer. The teacher asks a question, and students think for a moment to themselves. By thinking of answers independently, each child gets a chance to contribute their thinking to a group. This strategy ensures positive interdependence, individual accountability, equal participation, and simultaneous interaction across race and disabilities, according to Hayden, Mahidi, and Hunter of 2010. The additional time to discuss and formulate answers provides more opportunities to respond for students with disabilities. It also improves their academic achievement rates and their interpersonal relationships. Next, record their answers. Students take a moment to take what they have thought about and record their answers on either a sheet of paper, a clipboard, a whiteboard, whatever. This step is important when the sharing of answers takes place. It holds students accountable and allows the teacher to cycle through and make formative assessments. Students may forget what they were doing, and this aids in their social patience when listening and contributing to others' conversations.
Stand, share, and agree on one answer. Students will stand to discuss answers. They select the best possible answer to the question and make sure that each member of the group knows the answer. This is also the time where students are able to correct their thinking and use evidence to support their answers. It also fosters social interdependence, collaboration, and accountability when speaking. In addition, the kinesthetic movement gets blood and oxygen flowing.
Sit down when agree with one answer. Once students have agreed upon a final answer, they sit down. At this stage, a final answer has been decided and students may correct their thinking or add to it as they wait for a random number to be called. This builds success for all students, including those with disabilities. Each member was able to participate and arrive at an answer with the efforts of the entire group.
The teacher calls a number and the students stand. Now when the teacher calls a number, only the students with that number stand. Teachers will choose one group at a time, and the numbered head of the chosen group will answer the question for the group. According to Hayden et al., 2010, numbered heads together was more effective than traditional instruction such as hand raising. The research included 3 13-year-old students with disabilities in a 7th grade language arts class performing at or below a 5th grade skill level. Results of the study indicated higher on-task behaviors using numbered heads together. Student answers question. Students with that number stand and answer the question as the rest of the class listens. Once finished, the class gives praise either orally or through clapping. The act of standing allows students to look up to their peers and creates an environment of peer respect. Hunter et al. 2015 reviewed literature on the effects of NHT and concluded that this was more effective than existing practices and improved on-task behaviors and academic performance across general and special education settings.
Variations to responding. It should be noted that Kagan has variations to the numbered heads strategy. For example, when the teacher calls a number, students with that number may answer using the following. They could use whiteboards, response cards, finger responses, choral responses, manipulatives. Other variations include something called shoulder partners, where they're paired heads together, another strategy, to improve answers, and the teacher calls on the partner in the group. Another one, stir the class, where teams stand on the outside of the room. Teacher poses a question, they huddle for consensus. The teacher selects a number and teams rotate that number of times. The one that rotates to the front answers. So for example, if you have 4 groups, they're standing on the outskirts of a classroom. They each turn in their group and speak, but if the teacher says number 3 and group 4 is first, it'll cycle through to the group that lands on number 3, which may not be group 3, obviously. Traveling heads together is the same as numbered heads together, but when a teacher calls a number, the student stands and travels to a new team to share answers. This could also be known as a 1-stray, and you could do it with multiple students and be a 2-stray or a 3-stray.
Numbered heads together, the original version. Now that we have reviewed the strategy and data behind it, we are going to look at the original numbered heads together, followed by the new version. The purpose is to demonstrate the fluidity of the structure and the ease of implementation.
Students number off. 1,
2,
3, 4. The teacher asks a question and asks for the students to put their heads together and think about a certain question or topic. The 4 students in the group will sit and discuss.
Once the question has been posed, all students sit and talk together about what they think the answer should be.
Once all students have had a moment to talk it over and decide on a final answer, the teacher will ask a random number to stand.
The child with the number stands up and will answer the question for the teacher. This is the traditional numbered heads together.
So what do you think? Did each student engage and participate? Is there more that we could do? Well, yes, we could always do better. Kagan took this to another level and added thinking, recording, standing, and all students with numbers as well as stand be praised when they were called upon. One last comment about groupings. Keep in mind gender, ethnicity, ELL, special needs, discipline, friends, etc. We want groups to be heterogeneous and as much as possible. So when students are heterogeneously grouped, we increase academic and social gains. Ideally, a group of 4 would be high, maybe mid-high, average, or mid-average, low average, and low. Kagan is very specific about there being 2 low-performing students on a team, that they are never face-to-face looking across at their partner or shoulder-to-shoulder with a low person. They want to stagger the way this looks. And when I say they, I mean Kagan's groupings.
Students are heterogeneously mixed in groups of 4. The new numbered head strategy starts with these 4 students.
1, 2,
3, 4. Students have all numbered off in their groups. It should be noted that they do not need to stand to number off. This was done as a visual before, but if you choose to adapt the structure, that's fine too.
The teacher poses a question to all of the groups.
Students, in their groups, think of an answer first by themselves. Students then take a moment to record the answers they came up with. Once each child has recorded their answers, they stand to discuss what they have written down. Each student shares and listens to each other.
As each student shares to discuss their answers, they try to come to a consensus. Once each child has shared and has come to a consensus, they make sure that each child knows what the answer should be if called upon.
Now that they have come to a consensus, all students record or correct the answer that they had.
The teacher will then call a random number once the students have sat and have come to a consensus.
The student that has the number that the teacher called then stands. So do the other students of other groups with the same number.
Students of each group praise and congratulate the student who was chosen. This nurtures and supports students. In addition, they are looking up to somebody and giving that person recognition. The student answers the question. The teacher will decide if it is answered chorally, on whiteboards, or individually. Think for a moment. How does the use of numbered heads together increase student engagement, participation, and learning? What are ways that you could use this in your classroom? You could even use this during faculty meetings to engage all of your teachers.
To recap, cooperative learning does a lot for children. It reinforces the lesson, it increases engagement, especially with students with disabilities. Their participation rates go up. It reduces the amount of discipline problems because students are engaged. It helps students with public speaking, and it increases their academic achievement as well as improves their social skills and in critical thinking. What else could you think of when you think of cooperative learning? Engagement is key to learning. Numbered heads together is perfect for building social and interpersonal skills. It breaks the cycle of students being passive learners and makes them active in their learning. Students being given time to respond allows for deeper understanding and processing of information. Not only do students listen to multiple points of view, but they begin to use higher order thinking skills to evaluate information. So what are you waiting for? Try it in your classroom.